The reason I do recordings is, of course, if you miss something, you can always go back and find it. So here's the Moodle page. Let me turn on student setup so you can see it as I see it. If you ever need to find those old videos or a video for it, look for the class video lectures. And when you click on it, it'll take you to this page, and I save it as a YouTube page. You can make it full screen, go to the actual YouTube page, and it'll go over everything that I've already gone over from there. And I'll usually post those a day or two after the class, usually within a day. For this project, first of all, you can download the information for the project. You can also see the example. That's what I've handed out to you. You're also going to need this JPEG, the GD icons. And at the very bottom, I'm giving you some notes, some things that I'm going to be covering in this class and in future classes. When you click on it, your browser may open it up within the browser like this one. If you want to download it, click the download button in the top right-hand side of this button. I haven't handed this out to you, but if you download it, saved as a PDF, see if I can get it to open. Y'all see one mistake that I've gotten already? I put the name of it as Illustrator. That should read InDesign. My bad. But this will go over the things that I covered today a little bit more in depth if I missed something. You can see how to make text boxes, some tool options, things to cover, more about the toolbox, how to change colors, just little different things. Now this is by no means everything that I'm going to cover, so I'm still going to ask you to take good notes, write down as much as possible, and ask questions so you can better understand this. If you want to print these off, you're welcome to. Print them off to the black and white printer. Help save some of the color ink. Alright, so let's jump back into here. Let's look at InDesign and see how to do it. The InDesign icon, if you remember, is the purple one with ID at the bottom. I've already got it open, but I'm going to quit out just to show you what it looks like when you first open it up. So we'll click it, let it bounce. The first thing you're probably going to be greeted with is this, this welcome window box. And it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? In our case, we're going to just create a new document. For InDesign, you can make entire books, a set of multiple documents, or you can build libraries of different things. For this class, the only thing we're ever going to do is create a new document. So just to start, I'm going to click New Document. And the first thing it's going to ask you is, how do you want your document to be set up? This is going to be the same for all the software that we use. It's going to have to know what size of the page you want to work with. How do you want it to be used? Is it going to be something to be printed? Is it going to be something for the internet? Different things like that. The main thing that you need to be aware of is the height and the width. And there's some predefined sizes. Y'all know that a letter size sheet of paper is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. There's some other predefined sizes like a tabloid size, a legal size. There's even some international sizes that you can choose from. These down at the bottom, these are some web standard sizes. InDesign can also do some interactive type design for web pages or for PDFs. We're not going to really get into that, but just to let you know, it is possible to do that from here. I'm going to go ahead and just keep everything at default, and we'll say OK. And this will open up your document that you're going to be working in. Now for each of the software, they look a little bit different, but there are some things that are the same. First of all, your main window. This is where your document creation will be working from. There's two parts of this. Notice you've got your page right in the middle. Anything that you create, anything that you want to be printed, anything you want to put down, needs to be within this page. Outside of here, the white area, sometimes it's a gray area, depending on how you have it set up. This is called your art board. Anything that's outside of here, if you create it, will not be printed. So anything inside of the black area, black line, that's your page size. And notice that you can look at the rulers. There it is, 8.5 by 11 tall. Very easy, very simple. You also see there's some other lines set up. This outer edge margin, this is called your bleed line. We're not going to worry with that today, but when you get something printed, sometimes you can print it larger than necessary and then cut it down to size. And that's where a bleed line comes in. The pink margin, those are your inner margins. So if you want to keep everything consistent from one page to another, sometimes you need to set up your inner margins as well. Other toolboxes and tool palettes to look at. On the far left-hand side, These are your tools that you'll work from. You can always click at the little top bar of it and move it around. All the tools that we'll use in InDesign come from this left-hand side box. If you hover over it, you can kind of get the name of the tool. So in our case, the selection tools, there's the type tool. If you don't see the name of it or if you need to find it, just hover your mouse over it and it'll pop up like this. Also, look at the very end of the name that's in the yellow box. You see how it's got a P in parenthesis? That indicates it has a hotkey. If you want to quickly select a tool without having to move your mouse over and click on it, if you'll hover your mouse over, you can see what keyboard letter to type in, and it will automatically select it. So the selection tool, what keyboard should I hit? Key should I hit? V. So if I type V, automatically it selects the move tool. The type tool is T. So if I type a T, it'll automatically select that one as well. It's just a good little shortcut to keep in mind if you don't want to move back and forth. Another thing, a couple of these tools have some related tools that are also inside the toolbox. If you see a little black arrow at the bottom right-hand side of the tool, if you'll click and hold your mouse, it'll pop out and give you some other tools to select. In this case, you can type tool or the type on a path tool. For the drawing tools, like the pen tool, you click and hold, you can add anchor points, delete anchor points, do different things from there. If I ever tell you, look under something, or look under the pencil tool, what I'm asking you to do is to click and hold on that tool, and then find the other tools that are nested inside of that one as well. So that's what the little icons from there will allow you to do. Sometimes you can see the toolbox in a single row. If you double click this top, it'll swap it up to go horizontal. If you do it again, it'll do a double-sided toolbox to check that out. It's just a way of kind of conserving space if you need to do it. I kind of prefer it this way. It's just the old school way of doing it. That's the way I learned to do it. And there's some other things within the toolbox we'll get into as we start making our document. The next thing you need to be aware of, whenever you select a tool, pay attention to what's at the top of your page. These are your tool options boxes. So if I say change something in your tool options or look in the tool options, that's what these are up here. If I select my move tool, well, of course it's got the same options. I can change up things like widths of lines or where things are placed. Watch what happens when I choose my type tool. With my type tool, I can change up things like fonts, font sizes, placement, and baseline. All those things will give me a little bit more options specific to that particular tool. So pay attention to what tool you're using. If you know you need to change something, if you don't have the right tool selected, you won't be able to change it in your tool options box at the top. All good? Any questions so far? All right, we'll continue this one. If I ever ask you to go to a drop-down menu, that's what these are up here. One click, and you can follow where you need to find more information or more stuff from there. One thing to know about the drop-down menu, if you didn't know it already, if you look at the far right-hand side of any one of these commands, these are also some hotkeys you can press to do things very quickly. So things like copying and pasting. The little four-leaf clover thing, that's your command key. If you look on your keyboard, you can see the command key is next to your space bar. So Command C for copy, Command V for paste. The little up arrow, that is your shift button. So to paste without formatting, you would hold Shift, Command V to do that. The little stair-stepping looking one, that one's your control. I believe that's your control. Oh, excuse me, that's your option. Don't want to tell you wrong. That is your option key. So for this one to be Option Command, or this one, it's all four keys you would press to be able to paste into place. Those are different things just to pay attention to. It'll help you work a lot faster once you start learning these keyboard shortcuts. Last thing to know, on the very far right-hand side, these are your palettes. I'm going to click and drag them over here. If I ever ask you to open up a palette, palettes allow you to do and control more things with your document or with your layout. You can click on the name. You can see it'll pull up whatever palette it allows you to do. In this case, if I wanted to change the width of a line or the width of a stroke, this allows me to change that up, maybe change the style, those type of things. If I wanted to change a color, or maybe choose a predefined color, I can open up any one of these palettes off to the right-hand side and be able to find things quickly from there. Just like the other ones, you can click and drag it around. If you click on the name and drag it off, you can open it up on its own and be able to place it wherever you want. Or you can nest it back in there by clicking on the name and then dragging it back up to here as well. Pretty cool? So that's just kind of how to move around and maneuver for everything. Now these aren't all of the palettes that are on there. If for some reason you need to find a palette and you don't see it up here, either on the right side or your tools on the left side, here's where you can find more palettes. The Window drop-down menu lists all the palettes that you'll need. So if I wanted to, say, find my Tools palette, there's my tools listed right there. Notice it's got a check mark. That's because the Tools palette is already open. If I needed to find one that's not open, let's try a color. If I wanted to open up my Gradient palette, I can choose it, and here it is opened in the middle there. I can then drag it off and move it. I can even dock it up to there. So to find more, if you can't find it, look under Window, and we'll find it from there. If you have any questions about finding those, let me know. I can tell you right off the bat where to find different things. So let's jump into this first project and see how we can do it. The first thing you're going to do is create a new document. And I'll actually show you the document that we're going to create. So this is the resume. Yours is going to look very similar to this. Remember, I asked you to bring your own information. If you don't have a resume, you can make it up, or you can just copy whatever I have. You're going to make two resumes, actually. I want you to make one that looks just like mine is designed. This will help you kind of get used to making things and finding where things are. The second one I want you to make is your own design. Come up with your own stuff, move things around, place everything where you want it to be. Let it be your design. But this first one, let's actually make one that looks specifically like this. There's a couple of ways I can jump into this. I'm just going to show you what's on this document and what each little thing does. You've already seen how to make a new document. By the way, if you don't have your little main welcome icon to make a new one, you can always go to File, and there's where you make a new document from there. This is going to be the same for most Adobe software, File and New, to create your new documents. In our case, we're going to set up this document to be letter size. There it is already set up. And we want it to have margins inside of it to be 1/2 inch on all the sides. Your margins are the pink line that go on the top and bottom sides of your document. You can type it in down here. So there's 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. That one needs to be 1/2 inch as well. When we say OK, that'll set up our document that we're working from. Cool? All right. If you'll follow along with the document setup, the instructions that I gave you, you can clearly make each thing one at a time. How to set up the document, how to make the colored boxes, draw the line, make text boxes. So here's the first thing that you need to do as a graphic designer. Always make sure your document is set up the way you want it to be laid out. You got an idea of your design or what you want to do, now you got to be able to set it up correctly. The hardest thing about learning this software is simply knowing where everything is at. So let's go back into our new one that we created. The first thing we're going to do is I want to create some extra guidelines to keep everything in its place. You see in my example that I have, I've divided into a left side and a right side. I've got these two blue guidelines to keep everything where I want it to be so it's all in order and I know where it's at. So here's how you can create two guidelines. Go back to here. If you have your rulers turned on, you can click on the ruler and drag out. And since I clicked on the left-hand side, I get a vertical ruler, and I can drag it into place. Notice where my cursor is. I can get an X coordinate of where I want to place it. I want to place this first guideline right at 3 inches. I want to move it in right there. And when I let go, now I've got my blue guideline. What's my next guideline? Where should it be at? Say it louder. 3 1/4, 3.25. So right about there. All right. So now I can click off, and I've got two vertical guidelines that I'm going to keep everything within there. That's how you can do that. By the way, if you can't see your rulers, sometimes other people who are working on your computer may turn off the rulers. You can go to View, and there's hide rulers, or in this case, I can turn them off, or view show rulers. What's the command hotkey to show your rulers? Command R. So there it is right there. Quick way of doing that. So let's jump in and actually start making the different boxes. First thing we're going to make are the colored boxes, the ones at the top and the ones for each section heading. When you work in this type of environment, it's a little different from Microsoft Word. In Microsoft Word, you've got your starting point at the very top. You can click there and just start typing away and create what you want. In InDesign, if you want to add text or if you want to add something, you have to make a text box. If you want to add a picture, you have to add a picture box exactly where you want it to be. Remember, you're going to have all the control over this. So here's how to make a text box. In our case, we're going to use the Type tool. Type tool is this one right here. Looks like a big T. With my cursor, if I click and drag, I'm going to click and drag at this top right-hand corner, it'll start making out a box that particular size. I don't know if you can see it on your computer, but now I have a blinking cursor. I can type anything that I want to inside of this text box. All a text box can hold is text, type. Now, with my type tool selected, I can always select the text, I can edit it, change it up, do different things from there. But if I want to move my text around, I need to use my selection tool. Your selection tool is this black arrow at the very top. Sometimes I'll just call it the black arrow tool. The selection tool allows you to select objects and move them around. So you can see how this becomes really handy when doing a design. You can tell exactly where you want your type to be, where you want a picture to be. So if I wanted this to start right there and be in between those two lines, I can move it there. If I wanted to change the size of my text box, notice I've got little squares at the corners and edges of each of my box. I can click on any one of those squares. You can see my cursor, it changes to a little arrow. And when I click and drag, it will change up the size of my text box. Notice my text is going to stay inside of that box as well. Pretty cool? I can drag it, place it there as well. If I want to adjust the height, there's that one. And still be able to move it around from there. Another thing you can do with your selection tool, if you'll move your cursor just outside of the edge of it, notice how your arrow is a little bit rounded. If I was to click and drag now, I can adjust the rotation of my text box. Very, very simple, very easily. And you even get a little how many degrees it is once you've done that. And you can still move it around from there. If for some reason you've made a mistake, you want to undo it, you want to back up. So let's say I wanted to back up moving it and rotating it. Find that under Edit, and there's Undo Move Item. So it undoes the move. If I do it again, undo rotate. It'll step backwards and remember the last couple of things that you've done. I believe in InDesign it'll remember almost everything. In Photoshop it'll only remember like 20 or 30 things that you've done. We'll jump into that a little bit later. So I'll tell you what, let's set up this first one. I know it's going to go all the way across. I'm even going to get rid of my text. Highlight it, delete it. Alright, so my top box needs to be red. It's going to have some rounded corners. It's got no text in it, so that's going to be good. Also, if I look in my my selection under how to make a colored box, I know it has to be a specific height. So let's deal with the color of my text box. Right now, the color is null. There's no color to it whatsoever. It's not just white. It literally has no color. Check out the bottom of your toolbox. This is where you can find the color of whatever you're working on. And there's two colors to keep in mind. The fill color is whatever is on top. And the fill color is whatever is filling the object you have selected. Since it has no color, that's why there's a red slash through it. The stroke color is the color of the outline. Or if you have a line, whatever color of the line that you've created. It has no color too. To create a color, double-click on the fill color. And that'll open up your color picker. From here, you can change up the value of it. And it takes a little practice to get used to, but you can adjust the hue and saturation of it. the intensity. So if you needed white, drag it all the way to the top. If you needed a particular color, you can change it from there. I need my color to be red, so I know it's going to be down here. I can choose a particular shade of red to work from there. So when I say OK, since I had my box selected, it's going to change the color of that box. I'm going to give you one more quick tip. If you need to, there are some predefined colors that are on here as well. Look at the very top in your tool options. That's where you can find it up here. If you click on the down arrow, these are some pre-made colors that are already defined. And there's my red. That's right there. It's a little darker than what I initially selected. That's how you can get a pre-made color straight from there as well. All cool? So that's how you change your text, move it around. Let me show you how to give a specific height. What should the height of my text box be? If y'all are looking under Make a Color Box, 0.4 inches. All right. Look at the top left-hand side of your tool options box. Here's your width. Here's your height. You can type in specific height from here. So 0.4, it's already in inches. If I hit return, it's going to change the height of it automatically. That's what it's going to give me from there. We'll move it up here. The last thing you'll need to do is to be able to give the corners a specific type of embellishment. The ones at the top are going to be round. The other ones are going to be beveled off. So this one, since it's squared off, select it. To change the corner type, look in the very top center of your tool options. Right now they're selected at none. There's rounded.
What's fancy?
Fancy? Let's look at fancy.
Oh.
I think fancy, there you go.
Oh, that is fancy.
Pretty fancy, yeah. Inset obviously goes that way. Rounded corners that way. We're just going to keep it at regular rounded from there. Oh, it's got to be 0.4. Cool. So I've got that one created. Also have one here down at the bottom. Now the reason why this one's bigger is because I just wanted it to take up a little more room. I kind of fudged with that one. I'm going to show you all a quick tip. So if I wanted to make a copy of something, did anybody catch the keyboard command for copy? Command C. So Command C. What about paste? Command V. Very good. So copy and paste instantly allows me to move that and make a copy of it. I don't have to draw it over again. Let's do the same thing for these. I've already got one created. That one's got to be purple or blue or whatever. So Command V will paste another one. Just going to change the width of it to match there. And since this is a text box, I can actually add text to it. Let's change up my color first. Now the first one's supposed to be purple. I don't see purple here, so I'm going to have to make purple. Double click on your fill color. Choose whatever you want. We'll say OK. What was my first section? Objective. Choose my type. And I'll type out the word objective in the center. O-B-J-E-C. Objective. All right, so I've got text typed up in here. Let me zoom in so you can see this a little better. By the way, the command key for zooming in is command and the plus sign. Plus sign and minus sign will allow you to zoom in and zoom out. So objective typed in. Now we got to be able to format this text once it's selected. I want my text to be white. I want it to be kind of centered and spaced over just a little bit. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to highlight my text. If I need to change the font of whatever I'm working on, first of all, notice I've got my type tool, so I can change my type up at the top left-hand side. By default, Minion Pro is kind of what will usually come up for InDesign. The type we're going to use is Helvetica, bold, and small caps. So I'm going to click down there. This will list out every single font that's on your computer, and it'll give you a little preview of what it looks like. How awesome is that? Let's see. Jade. There. Where is it? There we go. There's a couple of different Helveticas. This one right here is what we need. And you can see there's different styles of Helvetica. So Helvetica Bold. The next thing it's going to ask for is it needs to be in small caps. Notice that I'm in upper and lowercase. To change it to small caps, that's where these series of T's come in. This is some quick formatting you can do. So if you needed it quickly to be all caps, you can select that and everything will be uppercase. Instead, we want this one at the bottom, small caps selected there. Notice that the lowercase are now uppercase, but they're smaller. They're small caps. Ha. Okay. From there, how to change the size of it. Most of y'all probably already know that type is measured in points. So here's the point value of the type that we're working for. 12 is a good default. I'm going to type in 22. We've brought it up from there. Now I need to change the color to white. Remember to have it selected. Notice what's in my fill color box now. What's different? It's got a T inside of it. This isn't worried about the fill color of my object, my box. It's worried about the fill color of my type. Same way for up here as well. So if I select it to change it, we'll change it to paper, which is white. And I'll change the color of this as well. If I need to quickly swap over, you can choose to format the foreground color, the fill color of the object or the type. But we're going to keep it like this for now. One last thing is I want to be sure that my type is in the center of my box that I'm working on. I'm going to swap tools to my selection tool because I don't see my object up here. With it selected, notice that my type is always going to be at the very top of my text box. But if you look on the far right hand side, these series of lines will allow you to adjust the vertical alignment of your text. Line center is this one. So now it's going to be centered within my text box. So now if I was to click and drag, it would always stay centered vertically aligned that way. Again, that's found at the very top center portion of your text box. I need to nudge it over a little bit. We're going to do it the easy way. Just do a couple of spaces, and that'll give me a little, get it off the edge right there. We'll bring it back up to 0.4 inches. Last thing I need to do is make sure that it's beveled off, and I think we'll call that one done. Beveled. Perfect. I'm going to zoom back out, Command minus sign, so I can see my whole document. Since I need 4 of these, what do I need to do to quickly change them up? Copy and paste. Select it, Command C, Command V. From here, all I need to do is change the text and change the colors. I don't have to recreate anything else. Yeah.
Is there like a quick save button somewhere?
Quick save button?
Just to like save as you go.
Oh, great question. Yeah. If you do need to save something, and I do recommend saving often, like if you make something, save it every 5-10 minutes. It's a good habit to get into. You can go to File and Save. There's your hotkey. Command S is what I would hit. It's going to ask you, where do you want to save it? What do you want to save it as? For now, I'm just going to save it to my desktop, and I'll call it Resume. And hit Save. Now, every time that I press Command S, it's going to automatically save it for me anytime I make any changes. Great question. Let's continue on. Let's get some extra text that's in here. So now I need a text box that's going to match the color of everything from here. So what tool do I use to make a text box? T, which is called? Type tool. Very easy. Type tool. Click and drag over. What's the objective of a resume? Or the objective section? Does anybody know? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the purpose of a resume. Let me rephrase it. Most resumes have an objective section. What's the objective section for? Do you know? Have y'all ever had to have an objective section on your resume? You ever heard of that? Oh, maybe it's just an old school that nobody does that anymore. The objective section is where you type in a brief statement of what you want to have in a job. What job are you looking for? So for mine, I just put to obtain an entry-level position as a creative environment that will foster graphic design skills and allow me to grow as a professional, yada, yada, yada. So I'm just going to quickly type that in really quick. Let's see. I'm horrible at spelling, so y'all catch me if I do something wrong. to foster my graphic design skills. Okay. One thing I recommend when using InDesign is go ahead and type out what you need, then go back and format it. In this case, let's see. We're going to be using the font Baskerville. This is on the back side of your handout that I gave you. It's going to be 29, let's see, no. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, 29 point right align. So let's see. Highlight this. Got it highlighted. Let's find Baskerville. Now I could scroll all the way to the top. Let me show you another nice little trick as well. If you'll put your cursor at the very beginning of this one, or if you highlight it, start typing in the name of the font. So EAS, notice it'll automatically type in Baskerville for me. So when I hit return, it changes it up. It needs to be bold. Let's see. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Resume, regular. It's going to be 14 point. We're going to change the color to whatever that purple was at the top. And remember, we had to create that purple. Here's another cool tip. If you create a color that's not already at the top, click on the Add to CMYK swatch. We'll say OK. Now, when you go to the top, you can find it saved for you. You can reuse it over and over again, since we're going to be using it that way. And let's see. This first line, I want it to be indented a little bit. Oops, excuse me, jumped off. Let's zoom in so we can see what I'm working with. I want to indent this first line of my paragraph. Most people will put their cursor at the very beginning, and what do y'all hit to indent? Tab key. It jumps over at least a ½ inch. I'm going to show you the professional way. You'll never do it the same way again from now on. I'm going to get rid of that tab. You're not going to hit the tab key. Remember, you have full control. So I've highlighted my text. Look at the very top towards the right-hand side, this little listing of things here. These are your different types of indentions that you can choose. Your left indent, right indent. Here's your first line left indent. I'm going to give it 0.25. Quarter of an inch. When I hit return, it's going to automatically indent for me. Here's the fun thing. If I hit return again and start typing, it automatically creates an indentation for the next line that I'm working with. Remember, you have full control over what you're creating. All right, so I've got that one created, got that one formatted. Let's pull this text box up, make sure it fits. If for some reason you need more room, if you have less room in your text box than you do for text, this is what it's going to look like. Your text box is going to have a little red X, a little red, well, it's actually a plus sign on the right-hand side, and it's going to say, hey, you've got more text than you need room for. So you either need to have a bigger text box or you need to have smaller text or less text. So if that happens, just adjust your text box size. That usually will help you out from there. Any questions so far? Real easy stuff. I'm going to turn this over to y'all and let y'all work through this first part, at least everything on the right-hand side from there. The only other thing that I'll jump down to, I think y'all can work with formatting the education side section of it. Just remember, your dates are going to be italicized. The skills is going to be the tricky one. How do you type something? It's in 2 columns. I've got one text box with 2 columns. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to highlight and copy my information. We'll pretend that this is the skills text box. Make a new text box. I'll paste it in. Command V, pasted it in. Right now I've got it listed out as one long text list. What I want to have is 2 columns within my text box. I've got my text box selected to do 2 columns. At the very top, towards the right side, look for these icons. Notice that there's a 1 right there. I change it to 2, hit return. You can see a little divider inside of that one. Now when I adjust the size of my text box, it'll automatically put it off to that side. Pretty cool? Very simple, very easy stuff to work with. You're just going to make a text box. You're going to format the text box, format the text that's inside of it, and recreate it from there. I'm going to turn this over to you, see how far y'all get today. Later on, I'll show you, we'll add the pictures to this, and we'll add the line on the inside of it as well. Remember, when you finish this up, start creating your own. Make a new one, make a new document. You're going to make your own resume and turn in both of those next Monday when this will be due. Cool? I'll turn your computers back over to you. Let y'all get started.